Missing, ain't no telling, do they love or did they kill him? The dominoes have fallen, we can't go back to beginning. This existential crisis, the reason I cannot keep competing and keep on living. So it's back against the world, seeing all your value once you dealt with all the dirt. Backing up slowly from these diamonds and pearls.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I had even forgot to switch the lights on. What is this? Hey, is my sounds back? Oh, I think my sounds are back, but
I don't like that shit for sure, bro. I don't like that shit.
hey, I think my sounds are back. You know what happened? Oh my god. Quick little rundown, man. I had my okay, on my OBS, right? I had my little sound faders. You know the faders? The audio setting. It was actually on stereo. So, and then for some reason, whenever I'd want to trigger my sounds on my soundboard, they wouldn't even like, you know what I'm saying? They wouldn't come on. They wouldn't go off. So I just like switched onto the mono, and then boom, we here. I think they work, because that sound that I just triggered right now, it didn't come on. Just yesterday it didn't come on. Welcome back. Nice. Oh my gosh. But what had happened was I had now already erased a whole lot of my sounds because of this whole situation. But it is what it is. Yo, it's good to see y'all, man. Good to see y'all, bro. Good to see y'all, bro. You know what I'm saying? I actually wanted to kick this one off with like, because I was, I'd be doom scrolling a whole lot on YouTube. I do my whole doom scrolling on YouTube. That's where I do my kicking it, And so Penuel the Black Pen, that's the brother's name. The channel is the Penuel Show. Penuel. Yeah, Penuel the Black Pen. Channel is the Penuel Show. Yo, so I see this video. So okay, this one is actually for my South African indigenous black men. You know what I'm saying? My South African black men. I be kicking it. I'm one of those. I'm part of that pocket of people. I'm part of that demographic. So I'll be kicking it. With a whole bunch of people, folks that I be working with and stuff like that. And we always seem to come to a conclusion that, yo, whatever it is that's plaguing the black man, you know what I'm saying? Well, within the South African context, bro, yo, no matter how we chop the different things up that are plaguing the black man in South Africa, no matter how we chop those up, like the conclusion is always, but what else can we do but just like follow what we've always been doing? You know what I'm saying? How can we make, like, what change is there but just like talking about things? Literally, bro, I'm at a old enough age where I can, I've seen enough conversations just go on and on repeat, on cycle. You know what I'm saying? On like recycle. Is it recycle? Is that the word I'm looking for? But just like repeat, say maybe, the black family, you know what I'm saying? The black man within the context of family, you know what I'm saying? And how things are damaged in that sense, and the black man's role in the degeneracies that go on, you know what I mean? Within the black family, things like this, right? And then it's always like, yo, it ain't shit we can do about stuff because, the white man is the one that put us in this position, because, you know what I mean? That's the whole system of what we have going on, and I guess this is our identity. Right? Identity. And now speaking of and okay, cool. Speaking of identity, let me park that one there. Let me just highlight that there. Park it there. I'm gonna come back to that. But it's always just like there's something superior to that black man, right? To a point where the conclusion is always there's nothing to do but just sit back, kick it with your other black men friends. Yeah, I'm saying, over a couple cold ones or whatever the vice is, and just talk about these things. You know what I'm saying? That's just one example. It can go on to even matters in the workplace. You know what I'm saying? Just like the superiority, this not superiority, inferiority complex that the black man, you know, can experience within the workplace. And then it's like, yo, you know, this is time, man, let's like stand together, like, as, you know, black people, within this organization, this workspace. But then it never materializes. It never happens. And that's the kind of black man that I'm talking about right now. You know what I'm saying? My brother's out here, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like there is no, I feel like the whole, okay, highlighting the video that Penuel was talking about. He was talking about something that I think contributes to the black man not even being able to identify himself in 2026 moving forward. So he was talking about, let me try and recall it real quick. Oh yeah, it's Ubuntu is religion, right? Ubuntu is religion. So like Ubuntu, I mean, you know what it is. But for a majority of y'all watching this are not from where these black men that I'm talking about are from. So by Ubuntu is like the cultural practice, right? That this black man that I'm talking about, you know, lives by. You know what I'm saying? That's his culture. So Ubuntu, you feel what I'm saying? It's the whole, yo, let me just let Copilot do it. I'm literally, oh my god, I'm just from like a 12-hour joint, you know what I'm saying? 12-hour shift in it out. I'm literally lazy to think. So I'll let Copilot do the explaining. Copilot, just explain Ubuntu quickly.
The moon is Earth's
No, not
only
the moon. Bro, you always do this. Explain the African culture Ubuntu quickly.
Ubuntu is a traditional African concept that emphasizes the interconnectedness of all people. It's often thumbed up as I am because we are, meaning a person is a person through others. It highlights compassion, community, and mutual care.
That's why I had to pull Copilot up. Come on, can you now blame me? No. Beautifully summarized, right? I am because we are, right? It's us. It's us. Shout out Yadi. It's us, right? That's the black man's sort of like principle out here, especially in South Africa. You know what I'm saying? It's like standing together. Takes a village to do this. Takes a village to raise a child. You know what I'm saying? It's about sharing, caring, community ship, community hood, things like this. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do your homework on these kind of concepts, by the way. I don't want to get into those right here, but that was one of the concepts that Penuel was highlighting, saying that's actually a religion. It's not just like, yeah, you know, part of like the black man's culture and you know, imprint or footprint or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's more than that. It's a religion, you know, except it has little little elements that don't make it a religion. You know what I'm saying? So there's that, right? So there's that cultural concept, not cultural concept, it's not a concept, it's reality. You know what I'm saying? So there's Ubuntu, right? And then there's religion. You know what I'm saying? In Penuel's video, this is what he was explaining. There's religion, and then there is modernity, modernhood, right? These are the three sort of, you know, systems that are the experience of the black man, especially in South Africa. Well, this is where now I'm extending my opinion, right? I'm like, yo, this is where the black man stands, right? This is that sort of dichotomous position where he got to decide his own identity, reeling that term back that we highlighted right earlier, identity. So it's literally an identity crisis. It's one big identity crisis that I feel like, you know, is the reason why, man, black folks just cannot agree on anything. And by black folks, obviously, as I did disclaim the fact that I'm talking about within the context of the South African man. You know what I'm saying? There's no sort of like solidarity, unionship, you know what I'm saying, because of the lack of this, or let me say not the lack, let me say the clashing of these identities. You know what I'm saying? These identities. So I feel like this type of man tries to take these three identities, like being identified as maybe the modern version of a man, you know what I mean, trying to please those standards, trying to please those POVs, perceptions, maybe build that kind of ego for yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can go that route. You could go the route of the religion, right? Because that's the second identity. You can be like that. You know, you stand on religion, you stand on religious principles, you're that religious man. You try and, you know, live holistically just religious. You know what I'm saying? By the scriptures, everything, like, of which it's like, yo, if you even say you're gonna be that kind of man, go all the way with it, right? Read your scripture, get in there, read your holy text, however, you know, you be reading it as per your religion. Do that the whole way. Even when it comes to the context of family, you know, let somebody choose you, you know, accepting that reality about you, that you are 100% religious. And so therefore, if we are going to now start a family with one another, we have to keep these religious statutes and laws, and, you know, because this is what I'm creating as this man. I'm talking within the context of the man, right? That's the religious context. Regardless of modernity, regardless of this modern way of a lifestyle thinking, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, yo, you know, the man is feminized to a certain degree, you know. Neither here nor there. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying this is the modern reality. You know what I mean? So regardless of that, I'll keep to my religion, you know, regardless of the fact that, you know, women are taking no, the man is taking the woman's last names in certain contexts. Y'all, like, if you're out here, you know, if you're from out here in these parts, you've heard the narratives, you've heard, you know, you've consumed the rhetoric to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? That's modernity. But with your religious bone, you stand on that. You stand on business when it comes to that. And then now we get, you know, the Ubuntu aspect of it. Just give me a second, y'all. Alright, I don't know if y'all heard that. Alright, my fault, man. I think y'all heard the knock at the door. You know, these earpieces I got on is actually kind of soundproof. I actually kind of mess with them. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, before that knock disturbed me. Yes, and then you get like the third leg of the whole thing, which is the Ubuntu aspect. You know what I'm saying? That's that whole hold on. Let me put it how Copilot put it. Traditional African concept. Well, it's reality out here, but you know what I'm saying? that emphasizes the interconnectedness of all people. So where the subject becomes the object, well, the subjective becomes the objective. You know what I'm saying? As per like how we decide to live, you know, principles that we share, and yeah, all that kind of things. The stories that are shared with the next generations and things like this. You know what I'm saying? So you get that, and it's like these sort of three identities, and why that one is a different factor from why the Ubuntu thing is a different factor from religion and also modernity, is the fact that, you know, it has clashing principles about it. You know what I'm saying? In terms of when it comes to relationship building, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to just becoming a man yourself, when it comes to your role in family, your role in economy, you know what I'm saying? The type of economy that you partake in, you know what I'm saying? Things like this. So it's like the Ubuntu way may differ from the modern way, and one of the examples that Penuel was bringing up was the, you know, the marriage aspect. You feel what I'm saying? When these two parties are about to get married, things like what is dowry, right? Ilobol. You know what I'm saying? Like the laws that go behind just doing all of that. Things like, you know, the taking of the last name from the woman to the man, the submissiveness, things like that. You know what I'm saying? Whereas you get the submission of the woman to the man. When it comes to the modern context, it's nothing but oppression or whatever. You know, these kind of ideas. So these things can clash. You know what I'm saying? And so therefore, that's the identity crisis, though. That you get the modern South African guy trying to probably carry all of these or wear all of these hats, but even at these things is point of clashing. You know what I'm saying? It's like a short circuit of some sort that happens, right? Where like maybe the religious aspect of you is, you know, in conflicting position, leaves you in a conflicted position with the Ubuntu version of you. You know what I'm saying? And the kind of stuff that you need to observe and be responsible for in that aspect. And then it's now like, yo, okay, we can agree on one thing. Let's say now, okay, with all of that in mind that I explained, right? You're this one man, you're just like me, I am the other man. And then cool, we meet up at our work spot, at the workplace. We're like, yo, this is how we can make our situation right here, since we are maybe, you know what I'm saying, mistreated in some capacity. You know, this is how we can actually stand together as this type of black man who's trying to win in this type of way. Yes, we can agree on whatever we agree with, but at the higher level than that, maybe now we have to observe our levels of Ubuntu and understanding this cultural, you know what I'm saying, engagement, like how we engage things, like at this level of being this black man, at the Ubuntu level. I may be somebody who's not even involved. I may be like, I don't do that, you know. I didn't come up that way. You feel me? But then you came up that way, and how we supposed to decide on things, that's where things can get blurry again. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm only bringing this kind of identity crisis up because I know it's also some indigenous, because okay, here's another point that I'm trying to make, right? Is that because of those three identities, I'm attributing these to this kind of African man because you know, it's Africa has its own kind of just fabric to it, you know what I'm saying? Its own principles, its own lifestyle, way of being, way of thinking, things like that. And so now, you know, other people from other parts of the world may just be You know, to them it may just be these two options. It may be more options. But with the kind of man that I'm talking about is like, yo, three kind of identities, and these are just like the surface level that I can just like point out. They may be more. If you feel like there's more, put it in the comments. You know what I'm saying? I'm only bringing up these three because, yeah, this kind of man, the African man, the South African man, bro, he really cannot handle these. Even though it's like three, you cannot handle these, and it's like, it's loud and clear. You know what I'm saying? It's actually clear enough. But I'm bringing it up on here. Even, you know, you may be from another part of the world, but you may have your own indigenous you know, principles or whatever, you know, qualities of morality, so to speak. I don't even know if I'm making sense at this point, but you may be dealing with your own things where, you know, it may clash with with other identities that, you know, your colonizer came to drop off on you. You know what I'm saying, so to speak. You know, where you had to do away with your indigenous cultural practices to now adopt the colonizer's thing, and then now that's your now identity crisis. You know what I'm saying? So that may be our point of relation, me and you being the type of man that you are, and being the type of man that I am, me being the type of man that I am. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, but it's actually interesting, the fact that, yo, to each their own. You know what I mean? You can blend these kind of identities and whatnot. To each their own. But, you know, I'm actually standing on what Penuel is saying. It's like, yo, pick one. You know what I'm saying? It's like, pick one. Literally, stand on one. Stand on business. Stand on business. You feel what I'm saying? And so, yo, shout out to him. He was like, yeah, he's a modernist. He was thinking about, he's like, yeah, no, actually, like, he was born, because obviously every man born like under the African sky, if I may put it poetically enough for people, you know what I'm saying? Nah, but everybody born like out here in Africa, it's like, obviously, it's kind of like, it's sort of kind of the whole thing where you don't choose your name, you get given that thing, you know? Ubuntu is the same thing, being a South African man, being an African man. You know what I'm saying? Ubuntu is the same thing. You just inherit that thing. So he was like, yo, yeah, I recognize the fact that I am this. You know what I mean? Well, I was born this, but I don't identify as somebody who just like keeps these rules and regulations of this thing, of this cultural practice. You know what I'm saying? Cultural experience. So, you know, I'm a modern guy. I do these things. I try to go according to my constitution, and, you know, this, that, and the third. I you know, whatever that means, actually. But that's one of the things that he mentioned. So it's like, yeah, you actually right, brother. A nigga gotta choose one. And with that being said, I'm still confused, bro. I'm still just like observing the scene, bruh. I don't even know which one. You see what I'm saying? I'm already fucked. I'm fucked. I can't even choose between these other, but I identify. I recognize them though. I recognize what's going on. You know what I'm saying?